Hello, I'm Jessica, and today I wanted to take you along and show you how to make yeast raisin bread, or a Rosinen Hefezopf, as we like to call it in Germany. So I just want to show you how to make it with a bread machine. If you want a video on how to make it by hand, just comment down below and I'll be sure to make one for you.
So first we want to start off with 1 tablespoon of yeast. I use the dry yeast. Then you want to take 1.5 sticks or 3/4 of a cup of melted butter. After that, you want to get 500 milliliters of milk. I use whole milk that needs to be warmed up. You don't want it too hot, you don't want to kill the yeast. After that, the recipe calls for 1 egg. I don't beat it beforehand, but you can if you want in a small bowl. The bread machine does it for you. After that, you want to do 1/2 cup of sugar, followed by 6 cups of flour. I've done bread flour here, I just did all purpose. It's totally up to you on what you want to use. And then after that, you want to put in 1.5 teaspoons of salt. You always want to put the salt away from the yeast. Every bread machine has its order of ingredients different, so make sure you read your manual. I just use an Oster bread machine. I'm very happy with it. I bought it used. I set my bread machine to the dough setting, and then once it's done, it does like to rise a lot. I just slowly take it off of the edges so that I can remove most of it, and then on a clean surface, I proceed to knead it just a little bit to get out any air bubbles. You can use flour if you need to, but I try to not add as much extra flour if I don't have to. I separate it into 2 sections because this recipe makes 2 loaves. I then add in raisins and knead them through. My aunt, who taught me how to make this recipe, does a great job of making sure that she doesn't have any raisins on the outside of her loaf, because they sometimes do tend to burn as they're baking. I don't really take the time to do this, and I don't mind if I get 1 or 2 raisins like that, but if you would like to, you can roll it flat, put the raisins on the inside, and kind of make a tube of dough around it so that you don't have any showing on the outside of the loaf. Next, I proceed to braid the loaf. You can do any type of braid. I just do a normal one, I guess, and then do it to the rest of the dough. I decided to make 1 normal size loaf and 2 smaller ones. You then let them rise for about 20 to 40 minutes. I decided to move this one to a different cookie sheet, and then you want to beat 1 egg. You can add a little bit of water if you want to it, and this is an egg wash, and this makes it very nice and shiny, and it keeps it from looking too brown in the oven. You want to also preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Here you can see it before I put it into the oven. I try to make sure to get it in all the creases. The bread goes in for 20 to 40 minutes, so my oven is hotter in the back than in the front, so I normally turn it halfway. If you notice that it's browning too quickly, just put some foil over it. This will ensure that it doesn't burn. Here you can see a few of my raisins got pretty dark and burnt, and so this is what you can avoid if you decide to poke all of your raisins inside the braid itself. If you want to make an Easter loaf out of this recipe, you just add some anise ground up or anise extract and orange zest to the recipe itself. Then you take dyed Easter eggs that have not been boiled yet and put them in between the dough. And then after it's baked, the eggs will be perfectly cooked, and then you can add a glaze on top out of powdered sugar and milk. My aunt used to always make a regular recipe which makes 2 loaves, and she would proceed to freeze one of the braided loaves that had not been baked yet. And yeast dough does very well frozen, so you take it out the night before, put it in the fridge so it can thaw in the fridge, and then bake it that morning. It tastes great with butter and jam, and I hope you enjoy this recipe.
Thanks so much for watching my video. If you have any questions, please comment below. I'd love to answer them for you. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a good day. Bye.